More Perfect Union has been doing some great work lately. We talked about a number of their stories in regards to Frito-Lay, how workers worked like 5 months straight, no days off, 12-hour days, just insane stuff. No climate control in the warehouse, so that sometimes it's 100 degrees, sometimes it's, freezing in there. People have died. So they're doing a great job exposing these real labor issues. Well, now we have another one. This one's about Disney and how they scammed not only their workers, which they did, but also U.S. taxpayers.
Here in Disneyland, you see janitors, cast members die, living in their cars or living because they don't have homes. And that's the story that they don't want to tell, because that goes against the happiest place on earth.
It is immoral. Yes, sir. It should be illegal to take full-time people, give them less, and part-time people and give them nothing.
Disneyland Corporation got over $500 million of CARES money and laid off 28,000 workers. Many of them that did not have a dime. Many of them that have not been brought back to work.
Yo estoy atrasada 4 meses con mi mortgage y tengo miedo de perder mi condominio que me costó mucho trabajo con el propósito para mis hijos.
They are using this opportunity in this pandemic to actually get rid of workers and to get rid of workers who might have had some kind of disability, or workers who have a seniority that they feel that they would have to pay them a little bit more than a brand new worker.
And we're also dealing with the fact that they don't want to give us seniority pay. So now we have people who've been working 15, 20 years making the same as somebody who's brand new.
Yo me siento muy orgullosa de los visitantes que me han dado las gracias cuando me han encontrado limpiando un basurero y ven el parque muy limpio y ellos dicen gracias por tener muy limpio el parque. Nosotros merecemos el pago que sea suficiente para sobrevivir.
What's going on is basically a joke. Disney has a joke of an offer on wages, no recognition for senior cast members that have been here for 20 years or more. I know some are 30 and are getting the same wages as people that just started. Minimal wage increases, less than 3% for most of them. No increase in some of the premiums. No increase in paid days off for the part-time members. It's a real joke what they're offering. What do we say to that? Okay.
Brothers and sisters, we stand with you. When I say union, you say power. Union! Union! Union!
Again, massive credit to More Perfect Union there. By the way, I just learned that the person responsible for that is actually Bernie's former campaign manager, Faz Shakir. So shout out to Faz. I actually know him a little bit. Great guy. It's wonderful work he's doing here. This is better like investigative reporting than any of the news outlets that I've seen in a decade. So wonderful, wonderful job. All right, so let's run through some of this stuff. This is infuriating. So there are people working for Disney full-time and living in their cars. Working for Disney full-time and living in their cars. I submit to you, that's a sign of a broken system, of a broken economy that doesn't reward hard work. It doesn't reward it. If it did, they wouldn't be sleeping in their cars. Okay. They cut wages and all benefits for returning workers after COVID. So they told them, hey, listen, it's a matter of necessity. We can't afford it. We got to cut the wages and all benefits for returning workers after COVID. But as was pointed out, they got $500 million of CARES Act money. They got $500 million of CARES Act money. They laid off 28,000 workers at the same time, and then they cut wages and all benefits for returning workers. No. Everybody needs to understand something. Point blank, very simple. That's a scam. Disney is running a scam. That's what they're doing. The whole point of getting that money, this was the whole point. And by the way, this also shows shame on the fucking government for not having strings attached and not having rules along with it. But the whole point of getting that money was to keep the economy running as is. We'll give you the $500 million, but you got to pay people the same. You can't lay off more than X number of workers, whatever. Fire 28,000 workers and cut wages and all benefits? Are you kidding me? They talked to a full-time custodial worker who's 4 months behind on her rent and is afraid of losing her home. And also, so if they make the argument, hey, listen, again, we had to do some of this stuff because of COVID, even with the $500 million. Well, then the point is raised, but you cut the custodial staff in the middle of COVID. If you cut, the whole point is, oh my God, we have to do this for COVID. You know what else you should have to do because of COVID? Increase sanitation and cleanliness procedures. So that would mean you would have to expand the custodial staff. They cut it. Then they have the nerve to say, oh, the reason why we have to fire 28,000 workers and cut wages and all benefits is because of COVID. No, if you're doing things that are necessary for COVID, in some areas you'd have to do more, like get more people on the custodial staff. And as they say, you know, one of the dirty things they're doing is any worker who was with them who's disabled, they're trying to get rid of them. Any worker who has seniority pay, which means they've been there for over 20 years and they know everything, you know, all the procedures, they do their job really well, they're leaders in some sense, they know the inner workings of it all. They're getting rid of the seniority pay, so that means you can make the same if you've been there for 20 years as somebody who just started 2 days ago. This is Disney scamming their own workers and also scamming U.S. taxpayers. Because we gave them $500 million. And the whole point of that was keep everything running the same. Instead, they took that money, fired 28,000 people, cut workers and all benefits, cut seniority pay, got rid of disabled workers, cut the custodial staff. And this is nothing but a fraud and a sham and a giant scam. And shame on them. Shame on them. So this is just, I mean, these stories are just so everybody understands what's going on in this country. And this is what happens when workers aren't represented. Your government is corrupt and not representing you. And the management and owners of the respective companies you work for don't give a fuck about you. So who's looking out for you? Who's fighting for you? Well, the answer is really, in this case, the union. The union is fighting for you. And More Perfect Union is blowing the whistle on all this stuff and getting the word out. And again, so much credit to them. They're doing phenomenal work over there. Now you know, this is what Frito-Lay, company that, you know, I never thought twice about in my life. And of course I love chips, like everybody loves chips. Never thought about it. But meanwhile, look at what they were doing to their workers. Now look at what Disney's doing to their workers. So the more this stuff gets out there, the better, because then we realize we need worker solidarity and we need to fight for regular people. We have to have a system where the bare minimums are taken care of, where the floor is a reasonable floor. And we have to have a system that is a meritocracy in the sense that it rewards hard work, and these people are hardworking and they're not rewarded. So as I always say, in a sense, we have like an anti-meritocracy now. A high percentage of wealth for the ultra-rich is just inherited. So those people don't have to do shit and they're rich. These people work their ass off and they're poor. That's an anti-meritocracy. We got to fix the system. We got to fix it now. Solidarity with these Disney workers. Ever since Adpocalypse, when YouTube defunded all independent news and politics overnight, we haven't trusted them. We know they can pull the rug out from underneath us at any time. If you enjoy this content, please consider tipping $1 or $2 per month on the Secular Talk Patreon. Link in the video description box below. Thanks for your support.